Hello, my dear friends. If you're watching this, chances are you're someone who cares deeply about your health or about the health of someone you love. Maybe you're in your 60s or 70s. Maybe you've started noticing small things, changes in your energy, your memory, or your body, and you're wondering, is this just part of getting older, or is my body trying to tell me something? Let me start with something many doctors won't say out loud. The human body almost never breaks down suddenly. Whether we're talking about serious illness, loss of strength, or even more advanced decline, it doesn't just happen overnight. It starts with small signals, gentle warnings, almost imperceptible shifts that we often ignore because they don't feel dramatic. A missed step, a bit more fatigue than usual, a strange moment of forgetfulness, a bruise that doesn't heal as quickly as it used to. They're so easy to brush off. We say, "It's nothing. I'm just tired. I probably didn't sleep well." Or the classic one, "Well, I am getting older after all." But what if I told you that some of those seemingly minor things might actually be red flags? What if your body is quietly whispering, "I'm struggling, help me"? And what if we keep missing those whispers until one day it's no longer a whisper? That's exactly what we're talking about today. Because there are 5 specific signs, 5 subtle symptoms that often show up months or even a year before serious decline begins. And the saddest truth is, most people don't recognize them until it's too late to do anything. I've heard from countless people who say, "If only I had known this earlier, I would have paid more attention, I would have acted differently, I would have asked for help." This isn't about fear, this is about awareness, because when we see these early signs for what they are, signals, not just age, we can actually do something about them. This video is for anyone who wants to stay in control of their health, their independence, and their dignity. It's for sons and daughters caring for aging parents, and for older adults who want to live not just longer, but better. Now, I know how overwhelming it can be to think about these things. It's tempting to avoid them altogether. We think, if I don't acknowledge it, maybe it won't happen. But avoidance is never the answer. What is the answer is listening, because the body speaks, not with alarms, not with shouting, but with quiet changes, if we only take the time to notice. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 of these early symptoms, not the dramatic ones, not the ones you'll hear in a crisis, but the ones that come first, the ones that can quietly warn us long before any diagnosis. And let me be clear, not every symptom means disaster. Many are reversible, many can be slowed, managed, or even prevented, if caught early enough. And that's the goal here, to help you recognize these signs in yourself or someone close to you, so you can take action, ask the right questions, and feel confident that you're not missing something important. Because I've seen too many people suffer in silence, thinking what they're going through is just part of aging, when in fact it was their body asking for help. And one more thing, please stay with me all the way to the end, because the 4th symptom on this list is one that's often ignored by doctors, caregivers, and even the person experiencing it. It's subtle, it's quiet, but in my experience, it can be one of the earliest signs that something is changing beneath the surface. Before we dive in, I want to ask something simple. If you believe this kind of information matters, if it's helped you even a little, I'd be so grateful if you could click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Even something as simple as "this was helpful" makes a huge difference. It helps this video reach more people. People who may be silently struggling, just like you. And if you know someone over 60, a parent, a friend, a neighbor, I encourage you to share this video with them. You never know whose life it might change. Also, save this video. Bookmark it. Come back to it in a week. Re-watch it. See if any of these signs feel more relevant after a few days. Sometimes awareness grows slowly, and a second listen can bring powerful clarity. Take a deep breath. This isn't about panic. It's about knowledge, and knowledge is power. Let's begin. Imagine this. You're sitting in your favorite chair, the same one you've had for years. You reach to stand up and suddenly realize it's harder than it used to be. Not painful, not dramatic, just heavier, slower, or maybe it's a name that slips your mind, a word you've said 1,000 times before, gone in an instant. You laugh it off. You move on. But what if that little moment wasn't random? What if that was the first domino in a line you didn't even know existed? The truth is, the body rarely fails all at once. It starts with small changes, changes we miss. But not today. Because in the next few minutes, you're going to learn what most people don't find out until it's too late. The 5 quiet signs your body may already be sending, and what each of them could really mean. Don't go anywhere. Sign number 1 is something 7 out of 10 people ignore until it leads to a fall, a fracture, or worse. And we're starting with that right now. Let's start with what it's not. It's not chest pain. It's not sudden weight loss. It's not something dramatic that sends you rushing to the hospital. Those are the signs everyone talks about, the obvious ones. And yes, they matter. But by the time they show up, you've already missed the early chapter of the story. See, what we're focusing on today isn't the crisis moment. It's what happens before that. The signs that are so quiet, so ordinary, they often go unnoticed for months, sometimes even a year or more. The mistake most people make? They wait for something big to happen, a scare, a diagnosis, a collapse. But the truth is, by the time your body starts shouting, it's already been whispering for a long time. And those whispers, that's what we're going to decode. Because knowing these subtle shifts and understanding what they're trying to tell you can be the difference between maintaining your independence and slowly, silently losing it. So let's begin with the first quiet symptom. It starts in your legs, but the real danger is what it leads to. You're walking across the kitchen, maybe carrying a cup of tea, and for just a moment, you feel unsteady, not dizzy, not lightheaded, just less stable than you remember. Or maybe you notice it when getting up from a chair. That slight push from your hands, the hesitation before standing, the quiet effort your legs make, effort that didn't used to be there. Most people think, I must be tired, or I haven't been as active lately, and they move on. But here's the truth. Gradual weakness in the legs is one of the very first signs that the body is starting to lose its foundation. Literally. Because your leg muscles aren't just muscles. They're your support, your balance, your freedom. And here's something few people realize. Muscle loss, especially in the thighs and calves, can start as early as your 50s and accelerates quietly after 60, especially if it goes unnoticed. The medical term is sarcopenia, the slow loss of muscle mass over time. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't shout, but it slowly erodes your strength, your balance, and eventually your independence. Why does this matter? Because studies show that subtle leg weakness, even before you notice any falls, is directly linked to higher risk of future hospitalizations, mobility loss, even cognitive decline. That's right, when your legs weaken, your brain often suffers too. Why? Because movement stimulates blood flow, balance builds coordination, and when we stop moving confidently, the entire system begins to slow. But here's what makes this symptom so dangerous. It's silent. It happens gradually. And unless you're looking for it, you won't notice it until you're already limiting your movements without realizing it. People start saying, I'll just stay home today. I don't need to take the stairs. I'll sit this one out. And just like that, your world starts shrinking. But here's the good news. This is one of the few signs on this list that is fully reversible, if caught early. Simple strength exercises, small changes in your daily routine, even the right nutrition can restore what's been lost. But the first step is noticing it. So ask yourself, have you been using your arms more when standing up? Are stairs starting to feel steeper than they used to? Have you started avoiding long walks? Not because of pain, but because of fatigue? These are the whispers. Listen to them now, and you may prevent the shout later. Coming up, quiet symptom number 2. It has nothing to do with your body, but everything to do with how people begin to drift away. And it's one of the most misinterpreted signs of all. You pick up the phone to call an old friend, but you hesitate. You don't feel like talking. You tell yourself, I'll call tomorrow. But tomorrow comes, and you still don't. Or maybe your family invites you out. Dinner, a small gathering, nothing too demanding, and you hear yourself say, I think I'll stay home tonight. Not because you're sick, not because you're tired, but because you just don't feel like it. At first glance, that doesn't seem alarming. Everyone needs alone time, right? We all enjoy peace and quiet. But here's the danger. When quiet becomes withdrawal, when solitude becomes disconnection, that's when something deeper might be happening, and it often starts with the brain. You see, as we age, subtle changes in brain chemistry, blood flow, and cognitive function can start affecting how we process the world. For many people, emotional distance is one of the earliest signs that the brain is entering a state of cognitive fatigue or early decline. But because it's not memory loss, because it's not confusion, people ignore it. They say things like, I'm just not in the mood. I'm too old for this kind of stuff. I just like being alone now. And while that may be true for some, for others, it's the brain signaling that social interaction is becoming harder to process, that the effort to stay engaged, to follow conversations, read expressions, remember small talk, has become exhausting. This is especially common in the early stages of mild cognitive impairment, depression, which is often overlooked in older adults, or even subtle changes in circulation to the brain. And here's the most important thing. People don't always feel sad. This isn't about tears. This isn't dramatic. It's a quiet pull away from life, from hobbies, from calls, from conversations, from touch. And that withdrawal, if left unaddressed, becomes a self-fulfilling spiral. Less social time means less brain stimulation. Less stimulation means faster decline. Faster decline makes socializing even harder. And the loop continues. So, what can you do? Start by noticing. Have you or someone you love stopped calling people back? Do you sit in silence more often? Not because it's peaceful, but because it's easier than engaging? Have you stopped initiating conversations, even with those closest to you? If so, don't ignore it. Talk about it. Get curious, not critical. And know this, reconnection is still possible, whether it's a short daily walk with a friend, a video call with family, or a group activity you used to enjoy. Even a few minutes a day of real connection can start reversing that quiet drift. Because the human brain isn't just wired for logic, it's wired for people. And when we stop reaching out, our mind slowly begins to close in. Next up, quiet symptom number 3. It hides in your calendar. It shows up in the way you move through your day. And it's often mistaken for laziness, when in reality, it's something far more important. You go to bed early, you sleep through the night, you wake up and still feel tired. Not just tired, drained, like your body is heavier, like even getting dressed feels like work. So you slow down, you rest more, but the fatigue doesn't go away. Sound familiar? For millions of older adults, this kind of deep, unrelenting tiredness becomes part of daily life. But here's the problem. Most people think it's normal. I'm just getting old, they say. This is how it is after 60. But it's not. Not when the fatigue doesn't improve with rest. Not when even simple tasks, brushing your teeth, making lunch, walking to the mailbox, start to feel like marathons. This kind of exhaustion is not a normal part of aging. It's a sign, a red flag that something deeper is happening in the body. It could be a drop in red blood cell levels, even a mild one, early heart or lung inefficiency, hormonal imbalance, silent infections, or even the body entering a conservation mode, what some doctors quietly call slowing down toward the final chapters. It sounds grim, but it doesn't have to be. Because the earliest warning sign is often the one most likely to be helped. if addressed in time. Here's what makes this symptom so tricky. It often hides behind good habits. You're going to bed early, you're not overexerting yourself, you're not staying up late or eating poorly. But the tiredness persists, which tells us this isn't about sleep. It's about how your body uses energy. You see, after 60, the body's ability to convert food into usable energy can start to change. The mitochondria, tiny engines inside your cells, may slow down. Your circulation might not be delivering oxygen as efficiently. Your metabolism may shift, even if your diet hasn't. And slowly, day after day, you become less active, less mobile, less motivated, until you begin to plan your day around your energy, instead of the other way around. Here's what to watch for. Do you feel like you're always recovering from something? Do you find yourself taking naps just to get through the day? Not because you want to, but because you have to? Do you wake up more tired than when you went to sleep? If so, don't ignore it. Talk to your doctor. Ask for a full blood panel, including vitamin B12, iron, thyroid, and inflammatory markers. Review any medications that may be contributing to fatigue. And most of all, start gently reintroducing movement into your routine. Because paradoxically, one of the best treatments for this kind of fatigue is movement. Not overexertion, not exercise in the gym, but walking, light stretching, breathing. Moving gives the body a reason to generate energy again. It activates your system, it wakes up your cells, and over time, it can reverse the fatigue spiral. Remember, real rest restores, but if rest only deepens your exhaustion, it's not working, and your body may be telling you something important. Next, we're going into quiet symptom number 4, the most overlooked and misunderstood signal of decline. Even trained professionals miss it. And yet, when you spot it early, it can change everything. It happens gradually. Maybe you don't notice it at first. A slightly shorter stride, a slower turn when reaching for something, a small hesitation before stepping off the curb. Nothing painful, nothing dramatic, just different. You tell yourself it's the shoes, or the weather, or the floor, but deep down, you feel it. Your body is moving differently. And that, my friend, is one of the most powerful early predictors of future decline, a change in your natural movement. Researchers have been studying this for decades, and here's what they found. One of the earliest indicators of neurological slowdown, even before memory issues appear, is a subtle shift in how we move. This includes slight changes in walking speed, a reduced arm swing, turning more carefully, needing to prepare before standing, pausing briefly before initiating motion. These are called motor hesitations, and they are some of the first signs that the brain and body are losing fluid coordination. And yet, most people overlook them completely. Why? Because there's no pain, because no one else notices, because you can still get where you need to go. But here's the hard truth. Your gait, the way you walk, is one of the most accurate predictors of risk of falling, future hospitalization, loss of independence, and even reduced lifespan. In fact, a groundbreaking study out of Boston University found that seniors who walk more slowly than average, even by a small margin, were significantly more likely to experience cognitive decline within 5 years. Why? Because movement is a full-body symphony. Your brain, muscles, joints, vision, balance, and reflexes all have to work in harmony, in milliseconds. So when something's off, even slightly, it's often because that harmony is starting to break down. But here's the good news. If you catch it early and you act, you can stabilize that decline, sometimes even reverse it. So what can you do? First, observe. Do you shuffle a little when you walk? Do you feel less steady when turning or stepping sideways? Are you more cautious on uneven surfaces, even if they didn't bother you before? Do you find yourself reaching for walls, chairs, countertops more often than before? If yes, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. See a specialist. Ask for a gait and balance assessment. Start a simple daily movement program. gentle Tai Chi, walking, light stair work, and most importantly, don't stop moving. Because the more you move, the more your brain remembers how to move with confidence. This symptom is so often missed. Until a fall happens, until recovery takes months, until it's too late. Let's not wait for that. Next, quiet symptom number 5. It might be the most emotionally painful to recognize, but it could also be the sign that helps you change course before the damage is permanent. It starts small. You skip making the bed one morning. Then you leave the breakfast dishes in the sink. The next week, you forget to take out the trash. You tell yourself, I'll get to it later. But later doesn't come. Soon it's the shower you skip, or your favorite shirt you stop wearing. You open the mail and set it aside, unopened. And just like that, without a word, without a moment of decision, you begin to let go of the little things that once defined your daily rhythm. This is one of the quietest but most telling symptoms of decline, the loss of desire to maintain order in your space, in your appearance, in your life. It's not laziness, it's not being messy, it's a subtle shift in internal motivation. Researchers call this functional disengagement, and it's one of the strongest predictors of cognitive fatigue, early-stage depression, and even emotional resignation. Because here's what the data shows. When someone stops caring for their space, their clothes, or their routines, it's often because they're feeling overwhelmed, shut down, or emotionally numb. It might be because daily tasks feel too demanding, or because memory lapses make them frustrating, or because a quiet sadness has started to replace energy with apathy. This is especially dangerous because it's so often misread. Families say, he's just not as tidy anymore, or she's always been a little disorganized. But what they're really witnessing is retreat. The retreat from effort, from structure, from the outside world. Here's what to look for. A sudden drop in personal grooming. Mail piling up, food expiring in the fridge. Wearing the same clothes for days, not changing the sheets, letting minor repairs go ignored. Now, we all have off days. That's normal. But when these changes become the norm, not the exception, it's time to pay attention. Because this loss of initiative, especially in older adults, is often a signal, not just of emotional fatigue, but of the brain-reducing activity in planning, decision-making, and reward systems. In plain terms, the brain stops caring because caring takes effort it no longer wants to spend. But here's the hope. This is often reversible, if caught early. Sometimes all it takes is support, a daily call, a simple checklist, a sense of purpose restored. Sometimes it's medical, checking for nutrient deficiencies, adjusting medication, evaluating mental health. And sometimes it's the act of gently rebuilding ritual, a morning routine, a tidy corner, a small task that says, I still care. Because when people care for their space, they reconnect to their identity. And when they reconnect to who they are, they begin to come back to life. So ask yourself, or someone you love, when was the last time you changed your sheets? Do you still enjoy dressing up for no reason? Are the plants watered? Are the lights dusted? Do you feel proud of your space? If the answer is not really, don't judge it, but don't dismiss it. Because this symptom, more than any other, speaks not just to the body, but to the soul. Let's stop here for a moment, not to panic, not to worry, but to reflect. Because maybe, as you listened to these 5 quiet symptoms, something felt familiar. Maybe you thought about a moment last week when you didn't feel steady on your feet, or the phone call you didn't return, or how long it's been since you felt truly rested, or how your closet hasn't been touched in months. And now, there's a quiet voice inside you saying, maybe this isn't nothing after all. That voice, don't ignore it, because what you're feeling right now isn't fear, it's awareness, and awareness is powerful. It's the beginning of change. It's the moment where we stop sleepwalking through decline and start walking toward clarity. You are not broken. You are not past the point of return. You are not too old, too tired, or too late. What you are is awake. And that means you have a choice. You can choose to listen. You can choose to act. You can choose to reclaim parts of yourself that may have quietly slipped away. Because the truth is, you're not alone. Thousands, maybe millions of people over 60 are going through these same experiences. Silently, feeling them, but not talking about them. And now, maybe, you can be the one who breaks that silence. Share this video with someone who might need it. Leave a comment and tell me which part resonated with you. Let's start a conversation that matters, one that could change not just your life, but someone else's too, because you're still here. And as long as you're here, there's always something worth reclaiming. Stay with me. In the next section, I'll show you exactly what to do if you've noticed any of these signs in yourself or a loved one. Small steps, simple actions. Because awareness without action is just worry. And we're not here to worry. We're here to move forward. So, where do we go from here? You've listened, you've reflected. Maybe you've even seen a version of yourself in these signs. Now, it's time to act, not with panic, not with guilt, but with calm, steady intention. Here are 5 simple, powerful steps you can take starting today, even if just one symptom spoke to you. Schedule a full-body check-in with your doctor. Ask for a comprehensive blood panel. Be specific. Mention fatigue, balance, cognitive focus, or loss of motivation. You're not being dramatic. You're being proactive. That's strength. Start moving, gently but daily. A 10-minute walk in the morning, stretching in the living room, walking around the house during commercial breaks. Motion is medicine. Even small amounts keep your muscles, joints, and mind alive. Reconnect, even if it's uncomfortable at first. Call someone, invite someone over, say yes to a simple outing. Human connection is fuel for your emotional and cognitive health. Isolation, on the other hand, drains you quietly. Choose one room in your home to reclaim. Clear the table, wash the sheets. Put on your favorite music while you do it. Caring for your space, even in small ways, sends a powerful message to your brain. I still care about living well. Write down what you've noticed. Keep a small body journal. Note how you feel when you wake up, how steady your legs feel, when you last laughed with someone. This is how awareness becomes habit, and how habit becomes change. And above all, remind yourself of this. Just because something has changed doesn't mean you've lost who you are. You are still here. You still matter. And every small step you take back toward yourself matters more than you know. But I don't want you to stop here. Go to the comments right now and tell me one thing you're going to try this week. I read every comment. And more importantly, your words may inspire someone else who's quietly going through the same thing. Also, take a second to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and check out the other videos on the channel. There's a whole library of practical tools, guidance, and gentle motivation waiting for you. And before you go, save this video. Watch it again in 7 days. See what's changed. And ask yourself the most important question of all. Am I listening to what my body is trying to say? Because when you start listening, that's when the healing begins. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you. Not just for watching, but for showing up, for yourself, for your future, and maybe for someone who couldn't put into words what they've been feeling. This wasn't an easy video, not because the information is hard, but because the truth can be uncomfortable, because it makes us look at things we've been trying to ignore. But you stayed, you listened, and that already sets you apart. Now, don't let this be just another video you watched and forgot. Let it be the moment you started listening to your body in a new way, because it's talking to you every day in small ways, in quiet signals, and now you understand its language. So here's what I want you to do. Like this video if it helped you even a little. Subscribe so you don't miss the next time we talk about something that could save your health or someone else's. Turn on notifications. That tiny bell icon so YouTube actually shows you when a new video goes live. Leave a comment, tell me your story, or just say, "I'm listening." Let others know they're not alone. Share this video with your brother, your daughter, your neighbor, your church group, someone you know needs this. They just haven't said it out loud yet. And finally, bookmark this video. Save it. Come back to it in a week. Watch it again with clearer eyes. Sometimes the second watch is when the message really lands. And if no one's told you this today, you're stronger than you think. You're worth taking care of. And it's not too late. Your story isn't finished. Until next time, be gentle with yourself and keep listening.